Thank you.
Mr. Carthy.
Mr. McDowell, I want to ask about an issue we've spoken about privately before, and that's the announced EIB low-cost scheme for private capital investors in relation to forestry in Ireland. And I've, as you know, explained some of the problems that has created, where local farmers are being outbidded by foreign companies, where then in turn they are blanket planting forests that defies local biodiversity concerns, and then in turn they're taking advantage of exchequer-funded premium payouts. The primary difficulty I have with that is that I've tried now on a number of occasions to get information as to who is drawing down the funds, where the capital investors are registered, the portfolio, the characteristics of the speculators and the regions that are being targeted. And I haven't been able to get the information. And considering that we're talking about essentially public funds, my question today is, will the EIB release that information, considering that we have a situation in Ireland that 2% of our overall tree cover is native forests at this point. It is not sensible by any stretch of the imagination as a forestry policy, and my fear for the EIB is that your own reputation is going to be damaged by the actions of the speculators that you're funding.
Flanagan. Mr. Flanagan.
Thank you very much. Very interesting presentation. And just first to say, we met with Jane Feehan. I think she basically works for the EIB in Ireland in relation to what MEP Carthy was talking about, and we also expressed similar concerns. And I'm just wondering, can you tell us today how confident are you that those investments will follow European directives to the letter, whether they will be sustainable? And also, can you explain, because a lot of ordinary farmers ask this question, how come they can't get access to finance at the same levels to these private capital investment firms?
Just in response to the questions on forestry from MEP Carthy and MEP Flanagan, to step back and make the point for a second, we are a policy taker, not a policy maker. The Irish government has set out certain ambitions in terms of the share of the forestry cover targets, which again are supported by the European Commission in EU policy. Every operation we do in every member state, not just in Ireland, has to get the approval of the member state itself. We cannot do any operation in any member state without the approval of the member state. So when we finance a forestry operation in Ireland, we consult with Irish authorities and they say yes or no in terms of the operation. We do feel we are pushing Irish forestry investments in a more sustainable direction with our financing. So, for example, we very recently financed a fund called SML Silva Fund, which is a UK-based fund with an Irish partner that is committed to continuous cover forestry. So instead of the traditional monocultural clearfell approach that has been predominant in Ireland, we're encouraging the adoption of the approaches that are common in many other European countries, such as Denmark and other Central European countries, of having a continuous cover approach with different species, so that you don't get this 30-year cycle of clearing a forest and then regrowing. It also, by the way, is, we believe, actually economically and commercially very advantageous, in that these type of forests are much more resistant to disease and to climate action. So we think there's a sort of strong commercial logic as well as environmental and economic logic. So we will continue to enforce our environmental and social standards when it comes to forestry financing. If ever any citizen of Ireland, or indeed any other member state, believes anything that we have financed, any promoter that we have financed, is breaking national or EU laws, environmental laws, we have a complaints mechanism to deal with those, and we'll investigate them thoroughly, and we'll always publish the results of those complaints. So I certainly would encourage, where you feel there are examples of that, of violations of national or EU laws in those forestry projects, to make your concerns known.
But we don't know who it is you're funding.
Sorry, we publish all our the funding for all our promoters, so all of that is on our website.
But who's drawing it down and where it's being invested?
Well, when we invest in a fund, our transparency obligation is obviously to reveal exactly how much we've invested in that fund, who we're promoting, and the standards that we expect of that fund. Who they invest in is the responsibility of the fund. But we certainly are maintain responsibility for the compliance with environmental and social standards of the ultimate beneficiary investments. So we are certainly happy to engage further on that.